Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Allison. We're part of the diagnosis and treatment team of anemia.
Hi, guys. My name is Neil. I'm going to be a rising senior at William Mason High School from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Hello, everyone. My name's Giselle. I'm a rising senior and I live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Hi, everyone. I'm Madison. I'm from Virginia and I'm a rising senior.
Hi, guys. I'm Alicia Gafour. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I'm a rising senior at Conant High School.
Hi, I'm Thea Ayers. I'm a rising senior in North Carolina, and that's pretty much all I was prepared to say.
Hi, I'm Kaya. I'm a rising senior from Parkland, Florida. So, the introduction. Anemia is a medical condition that decreases deficiency in the hemoglobin. It is often caused by the malnutrition and which causes problems with oxygen in the delivery with the tissues and the organs. This presentation is going to be a comprehensive guide to patients, caregivers, and healthcare professionals of the treatment and diagnosis of anemia.
So how do we know if someone has anemia? There are multiple different tests used, but by far the most common is a complete blood count test or a full blood count test, abbreviated to FBC and CBC for short, respectively. In a complete blood count test or full blood count test, a sample of blood would be taken from a patient who presented with signs of anemia, as was explained earlier, and they would test for things like hemoglobin levels, red blood cell count, hematocrit, and mean corpuscular volume, all of which are biomarkers of anemia. But just because it is the most popular does not mean that it is the only test. There are other tests such as a I always forget how to pronounce this. Reticulocyte count test, which measures the number of reticulocytes or slightly immature red blood cells in the blood. There's also a coagulation screen, which tests the clotting ability of the blood, as lower iron has been linked to an impaired ability of blood clotting. There are other tests, but these are pretty much the main three.
So, as stated by my colleague, there are several ways to test for anemia. But there are also many limitations and challenges. These include false positive and negative reading, which may take place in anemia tests, possibly due to conditions such as chronic and acute blood loss, as well as splenomegaly. Hundreds of thousands of Nigerians of Bauchi sadly remain in poverty, creating an unequal imbalance between the lower, middle, and upper class. Additionally, anemia biomarkers have specific characteristics. However, pregnancy and nutritional deficiencies may complicate assessments, posing challenges in low and middle income areas. Different types of anemia makes these biomarkers difficult to interpret. And lastly, global anemia studies often over-exaggerate iron deficiencies, despite it causing only about half of anemia cases worldwide. But you can imagine the quantity on the Nigeria scale.
So why are accurate diagnoses important? So they increase the efficiency of treatments and diminish the time wasted on incorrect treatment. It also prevents long-term difficulties. It ensures a higher chance at a greater outcome. The patient is getting the correct care for their needs, and then it reduces the risk for complications. Having an accurate diagnosis can overall improve health, and if the patient has had these problems for a long period of time, they're getting the care they need to be healthier.
So seeking healthcare itself is a pretty big issue in Nigeria itself. And these issues are mainly due to several cultural factors, whether that be lack of education or even simply lack of access to that kind of care. Despite these factors, it's important to keep in mind that these can also pose to be extremely dangerous to patients of anemia, because then it would be extremely difficult to certify and make sure that certain symptoms of anemia like leg swelling or your hemoglobin count is not fully accounted for, and it's not looked at by the correct healthcare professional.
Okay, so there's, like Thea had said, there's the FBC or full blood count test to test for the levels of hemoglobin, which also determines the severity of the anemia. As we know, there are 3 severity levels. There's mild, moderate, and severe. So with mild anemia, normally the treatment provided would just be oral supplements and vitamins, whether in the form of a liquid or a pill. For moderate, you would be given IV therapy through a vein. And with severe anemia, you'd be given a blood transfusion.
Now, the issue stems with the fact that we have this treatment, but patients are unwilling to receive it. And we can do this by looking at 4 key areas of analysis. The first one being education. As we live in the United States, we're known to do blood drives, and we know how they work. The same cannot be said about kids in Bauji. The second thing comes with access. As we learned from the beginning of the week, Nigeria is a low-income country. This means that the importation of these treatments becomes an option that is not feasible. The third one comes with affordability. 74% of the people living in Bauji currently live under poverty. Now, this means that they don't have the necessary money to get the necessities they need to fulfill their treatment for anemia. And the fourth, which is the most important, comes with their cultural differences. Bauji is a diverse state, but with diversity comes issues with each other. And these diversity issues propose cultural assumptions that come in negative connotations of these treatments.
So moving on to our community workshop, we broke it down into 3 different exercises. The first one being a nutritious cooking session that will build off of the community garden that the prevention group will actually talk about after us. The second one is the full blood count test, like a discussion on it. And the third one is a blood donor recruitment workshop.
So to first delve into the aspect of this cooking session, we want to first start off with the fact that it's imperative that we understand that for mild anemia, iron-sufficient pills are not the only cure. There are many iron-sufficient fruits, vegetables that have iron that will deplete the symptoms in anemia. So in order to regulate this, we want to have this cooking session that will be high in iron-rich vegetables. These include spinach, cashews, and soy. And with this learning, students of Bauji will be able to understand the implications that they have been added into the chef. So now to get into the procedure of it, Allison will take us through that.
So how are we going to implement this cooking session? The first one, we can work together with a very influential community cook. This could be anyone. It could be like a mother of a family that the community just knows makes really good food. So we could work with either him, her, whoever it may be, and then we can gather people at the workshop, preferably working in a kitchen setting. And then we're going to gather necessary foods. Some of it would be like the food that they would normally include in like the meals that they would eat in northern Nigeria, especially Bauchi, and then also the food that we might harvest from the community garden. And then the chef or the cook would be able to demonstrate how to make or how to include the harvest from the community garden into the meals that you might see like a typical Bauchi family might eat. And then we want to give some time for the people to actually make the meals themselves, kind of take a hand at their own. And afterwards, we were thinking of giving them a kind of a complimentary little gift basket, including some of the harvest goods from the community garden.
As you can see here, they will also take home a table that details iron-rich foods, how much iron is in them, and how long each takes to grow. Whether they want to buy them or whether they want to grow them themselves, these are things that each Nigerian family has to take into account when deciding what an iron-rich foods to incorporate into their meals. Like you can see how the dried spices are very high in iron, but it wouldn't be feasible to get all of your iron from a pile of dried thyme. That just wouldn't be good for you. So this details the different types and how you can incorporate each of them.
Okay, the full blood count test. So with patients with a hemoglobin level under 7, a planned blood transfusion is required. But by knowing the right symptoms and seeking the right getting tested, iron pills and other dietary modifications can be used. This discussion is going to be showing up how simple and easy it is to get treated and tested by your local hospital.
So for this exercise, you would need a large bowl, a sizable amount of rice, and a spoon. I know that sounds strange, but let me explain. So you would gather everyone within the gathering, within like the workshop area, whether it be like a regular meeting place, like a community leader's house, something along those lines. You would ask the audience to draw their attention to the bowl of rice, take out a spoon, which unfortunately we don't have because we forgot to grab one. Take out a spoon, take a spoonful of rice out. Then you would ask the audience a question.
So here's a spoon right here. This is how much blood it takes to do an anemia test. Not a lot, right? But by not seeking the right treatment and getting tested, you can get headaches, paleness, body sweating, which can lead to more intensive treatment. At the end of this discussion, we are going to hand out flyers for more information about the blood donation and treatment centers.
So for the third exercise, we're going to be doing a blood donor recruitment workshop. So blood donors are extremely important to the community of Bauchi in Nigeria. They're also really important and extremely essential to those who are suffering from severe anemia, who require blood transfusions. So unfortunately, although anemia is very common in Bauchi, we also understand that severe anemia is also very prevalent. But with the help of LI, the help of the community leaders, the help of the religious leaders and everybody else, we can really truly bring everybody together to help donate blood for those who need blood transfusions.
So this is a very short list for our next exercise. It's called elastic rope visualization. Some of the things you might need, you're going to need elastic rope, and Alicia will explain it very soon, scissors, and then an attached contact sheet like the one we designed right here that will have like their names, their phone numbers, or like their place of address if they don't have like a phone in their house, just so that they can be reached later on.
So how this procedure is going to work, we're going to gather all the members that are at the workshop. We're going to ask them to we're going to give them either larger or smaller sized elastic ropes. And what this is going to symbolize, it's more like a symbolism workshop. So what the ropes symbolize is either the blood volume or hemoglobin in a person's body. So whoever has the larger rope has more volume and is more healthier and is more of a better candidate to be able to give blood and to help out their community. So what they're going to be asked is to give a small amount of their elastic rope to their counterparts that have a much smaller sized rope. And what this is going to symbolize is the fact that even if those with larger blood volumes, even if they donate a certain amount of their blood, the elasticity in their body or in their rope, it's easier for them to bounce back from the donation. That way, it'll make it seem like you're really not donating as much blood as you would need to. And this way, it'll make it sound even easier for people to help out their community and to donate blood all in all. So these are the people that we're going to ultimately recruit in the blood donor program.
Okay, so this is the flyer that we would hang out at the workshops. And there's an incentive for it. So if you donate blood, you would get a 5% like intake of the community garden. And this is kind of to get people to donate blood because they need people to donate blood because some of them have very severe anemia and they could die. So this is a way to get people to step up and see if they'll donate blood. And it would be hung around maybe different places, not just the workshops.
This is our itemized budget. Everything is detailed there. The one thing we did want to mention is a large portion of our budget is going to the hemoglobin test kit and the test strips. The point of this is that after like our workshops, we are going to be giving these test kits and test strips to the clinics and hospitals in the community so that after the workshop, if they want to get tested for a full blood count test, then they can go to a hospital and the hospital will actually have that supply there. And then also all remaining money will be given to the community for the maintenance of the community gardens.
And then these were the resources that we used in our research.
I loved everything. That was really, really good. I liked how you told the story about the treatment and diagnosis. It was quite clear, but I really liked your community workshop activities as well as what you want to do. The only thing that I had a bit, I wouldn't say an issue, but I needed to simplify your the cooking recipe, because no one really looks at the back of anything. Like, do you know how many calories you just ate from the Doritos that you took out today? Or how much protein was there? Do you know? Yeah, no. The point is you don't know, right? So also that they wouldn't know either. But I get the idea. The point, so instead of doing that, you could put like 2 eggs is enough, or 4 cloves of spinach, or 5 onions. Just put the picture 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all that you need for your meal. In that way, you're saying, yes, you need maybe 20 grams of iron, and this is how to get them, versus like saying these international units, and that's too complicated for even me. So a lay person, make it as simplified as that. Apart from that, everything was great. I love the examples. I loved your presentation. I'm a blood donor myself, so I love the idea of getting donors and having donors within the community. And this is a big problem in Nigeria. I'm sure all of us have had to call our friends to be like, I have a patient. Do you know anyone that can donate blood? So it would be so nice if we had like a blood donor record that the hospital or anyone could always also be like, oh, there's Ali that's there. He has agreed to donate blood and he's clean. So the idea of blood donor recruitment is good. Brilliant one. Good job, guys. Congratulations. Super proud, and you should be proud of yourself as well.
Thank you very much for this wonderful, wonderful presentation. It was amazing. And I was just like, wow, 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 in my head. Okay. Angel has said it, and really the idea of blood donor, very important, especially in the north. In Abuja, it's even common, or we have a blood bank, but I don't think there is any northern state that has a blood bank in Nigeria. Maybe Kano. Okay. Exactly, exactly. So most of the time, even in Abuja, to secure blood, it's a very, very difficult thing. In fact, some people go as far as selling their blood for a high amount of money, about $30 per pint. For 1 pint. Okay. So, and in most cases, when blood is really needed in an emergency, you're going to need nothing less than 3, because 1 pint of blood raises the hemoglobin concentration by 3 is PCV. Let's say PCV of 3. So if you're supposed to have a PCV of 40 and you get 40%, you get 1 pint of blood, it will only raise it by 3%. And if anemia is so severe that you would need a blood transfusion, you're not going to need 1 pint to get you to a stable state. Okay, so this idea is a wonderful one. Now we can drag from other places where these donors, we have universal donors, we have universal acceptors, those who can give anybody blood. Those are the special ones. Those are the ones that sell their blood, anytime they just, they receive a call. So they leave their numbers in these healthcare facilities where there is a need for blood. They just call them. Hey, guy, where are you? We need blood at so place. So it is a wonderful, wonderful idea. The presentation was amazing. Kudos to you guys and congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. I like when you are addressing the barriers to blood donation and even treatment for anemia. That was a very good one. And the issue of community guardian, I think you are working with the prevention group, right? It's an excellent idea to have blood drives and then have an incentive for that, because people really don't want to do anything for free. And the problem, like Isa said, if you have somebody in serious severe anemia, you need not less than 3-4 pints. There was a day we transfused a lady at night, 7 pints of blood. If you don't have a blood bank stored, that's a life lost. You can't do anything, no matter what you wish. She came into the liver, she was bleeding and bleeding. 7 pints of blood one night. So you could imagine if you have a blood bank. And another thing, like she said, she's a blood donor, right? Another incentive that you can put in your package that would encourage people is the fact that should you need a blood as a blood donor, you get it free too. So you are donating to save someone, and someday if should you need it, should you require it, you also get it free. I think that's what is currently being used in many facilities in Nigeria. Thank you very much, guys.